Guys, I hope everyone is doing good. This is Pratishtha, your IELTS trainer, and I hope everyone revised whatever we have done in the previous week, week one, week two, week three. So, in all of these courses, all of these days, we really took a look into the introduction, and we were mostly on the basic to intermediate parts until now. We went through grammar, we did a little bit of speaking activities on general topics just to improve your confidence a little bit more. We read a few things. We tried to see like what are the different kinds of readings we can do. We tried to look at some listening topics as well, general listening topics when it comes to dialogues, when it comes to monologues, because those are the two main kinds of listening that you'll be doing. Then we also looked at some writing. So we learned how to create paragraphs. We learned how to create a little bit of essays. I would say we have not gone into depth and detail, but in the upcoming section, we are going to go into depth and detail and be more um, focused on the IELTS part. But even for IELTS, you need to have a basic understanding of how language works and what is expected, right? So all that we have done in the past is the basics, basic to intermediate, I would say, in understanding how a language is and what is expected, what you should know for IELTS, right? So that is super important because that builds your foundation. With this being said, let's just review what we have done until now, and let's just take a look. So we are just going to talk about the key concepts that we have learned from week three, right? We will engage in, we also engaged in practiced activities to uh, to reinforce what we did, right? So we will do a little bit of that as well. And we will try to figure out if there are any doubts or anything that is needed to be addressed, and that should be it. So let us move forward. So key topics from week three. What were the topics from week three? Right, in week three, we were generally focusing on intermediate grammar, right? We went through tenses, we went through sentence structure. So tenses, we did simple present, present continuous, simple past, past continuous, simple future, and future continuous. We also did some sentence structures. So we did simple sentences, complex, compound, compound complex. We also did a little bit of dependent and independent clauses. What are they? What are some conjunctions, subordinating and coordinating conjunctions? Um, I think that was pretty much it. We learned in detail what nouns are, verbs are, adverbs are, so on and so forth, right? Um, we did reading skills. We did some reading skills, which was detailed comprehension, right? So we did some detailed comprehension. We did writing practice where we summarized the texts. We learned how to make simple paragraphs, right? Using an introductory sentence, explanations, and then concluding sentence. We did a lot of listening practice as well. So we did complex conversations, we did dialogues. We recently also did a little bit of monologues. Oh, I'm so sorry. That is for speaking. I'm so sorry. I did this part. So for listening, we did essentially um, a variety of listening practices. Um, we listened to some conversations, we read some transcriptions, and we solved questions based on that. For speaking, again, we did dialogues and monologues. We discussed familiar topics, everyday topics. Then we did some, well, like grammar. In grammar, we did complex sentence structure. This was intermediate grammar, and this is like a little bit advanced. So all of the things that have been discussed, complex sentences, how to form them, what are different conjunctions, how to use them effectively, so on and so forth. And then we had an introduction to IELTS, what this test is, what is the difference between IELTS general and IELTS academics, etc. So this was all the key topics that we discussed. Moving forward, about grammar and vocabulary, I would really suggest again to focus a lot on vocabulary here, right? One sec. Right. So read okay. So grammar and vocabulary review key grammar points, including tenses. So you can go back to the previous lessons, review all the tenses, all the sentence structures, and complex sentences, right? So complex compound sentences, you should know when to use which sentence to use where, how to create those sentences, not to overdo those sentences as well. Discuss new vocabulary in case you learned any new vocabulary. Try to remember that by practicing it more. The more you will use it, the better it would be. And then work with the partner to create sentences using new vocabulary words, right? So create sentences using new words, using complex grammar structures, etc. Moving on, you have reading and listening practice. We read a passage, we read a passage, we summarized it. I gave you the tip that you always need to summarize whatever you have read, just because you saw in the previous video that how long IELTS passages are going to be. So I would really suggest after every paragraph, just write one summary line, listen to a recorded conversation, and answer comprehension questions based on the content. So for listening, I would really suggest you to listen to a variety of topics, variety of conversations, um, different contexts, different accents. Familiarize yourself with different accents, the British accent, Australian accent, like the American accent. The thing is that if you get any of these accents, it's like pretty mixed. Even if you get any of these accents, the thing is that you won't be shocked and lose confidence there in the exam. So it's better to prepare firsthand, then discuss your answer with partners and provide feedback on each other's understanding. So it is always better to discuss and provide feedback. For writing and speaking, I would suggest write a summary. We have practiced that a lot in the previous sections and in the previous videos. Focus on being concise, focus on being clear. Don't use words, vocabularies, conjunctions, sentence types, sentence structures that you're not confident with. Now is the time to build the confidence by practicing, but not on the test day, right? So I would suggest not to do it on the test day, do it today and get your feedback. Engage in discussions on familiar topics. So make sure you have a bunch of familiar topics prepared. In the following sections also, we are going to discuss a lot of topics. We are going to go through I would say, mock tests. We will go through a lot of practice in speaking. I'll give you a lot of content related to it. Practice fluency and articulation. So practice that, you are fluent, you're not getting stuck a lot. Even if you're getting stuck a lot, think of something immediately. So when you're speaking, it does not matter what you are talking about or what your opinion is. They will not judge you based on, if you are correct or a good person or not. They would just check your fluency. So I would really suggest make sure that you are making sense. It does not matter if you agree with something or disagree with something, but whatever you are saying should make sense. That's all. Share your writing with the class and provide feedback on grammar and coherence. Then we also talked about the IELTS style. So I would suggest you to take a practice test, which will cover listening, reading, writing, and speaking. I would say that use this opportunity to familiarize yourself with the test format. We did a test, like I did show you a test format in the previous slides. I would say that try to practice one of these things. We have done it in the previous sections also, and we will keep on continue doing it in further lessons. I would say review regularly, because you have like just say 30 or 40 days to practice. I would say in these 30 and 40 days, practice properly, review yourself, give a constructive criticism to yourself, see where your weakness is. Every day, practice is necessary. So practice every single day, even if it's just for 30 minutes, even if you're super busy, just make sure you have a little bit of time to practice. Engage with English somehow. No matter what you're doing, just try to engage yourself with the language. Watch movies, watch anything in English, listen to podcast, listen to YouTube videos, listen to other people speaking, read books, so on and so forth, and ask for feedback, right? It is super necessary to ask for feedback. Learn your way out through constructive criticism. I think that is the most important thing. Ask your friends or family members to give you that kind of feedback that will help you improve and identify your weak areas. And make sure you're practicing consistently. I would suggest for you to do is review all that we have done before. Practice, keep it in practice. The thing is, if you're not practicing all that we have done from the previous lessons, chances are you will forget it. So it's better to practice whatever you have done and learn from it. Write a short essay on what you have learned this week and how you plan to continue improving. So this could be like a self diary entry sort of a thing where you're also practicing, writing. So I mean, just write about what you learned, what you expect, and what do you think will happen in future. And that should be pretty much it for this lesson. I mean, all the tips that I could give you and all the review that I could give you, we have gone through it pretty much multiple times now. And this video was just to make you understand what we have done until today, until this video. And going forward, we will increase our level. We will move from intermediate level to a little bit advanced level. And let's see how it rolls. So I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you practice.